What's up, fellow youths? It's your boy, Old Man YouTube, aka Top Notch Super Best on Instagram, aka Machine Gun Kitty on Twitter, and I'm out on a walk and talk. The biggest reason, first of all, I realized I need a selfie stick because this is not a flattering angle. But the biggest reason I'm walking and talking, and I promise next time I'll either have a selfie stick or I'll just be sitting down, because I think my friends are tired of hearing me talk about crypto, and I just kind of need to get it out to the universe. So maybe if I let go of all my thoughts here, then I can stop annoying people with all my thoughts. And I'm going to try and keep this video short because I realize as I'm looking into the viewfinder, I'm starting to realize that I look down a lot. This is my first real video, so there's going to be ums, there's going to be uhs, there's going to be stutters, there's going to be stammers. There's also going to be, I don't have a worksheet in front of me, it's just me walking. So some of my information may be slightly wrong, but I'm going to try and get everything correct to the best of my knowledge, if you will. So let's walk by this lawnmower. That should be slightly quieter. Okay. My information may not be 100% correct, but I'm going to try and give you guys the best information I can. I just kind of want to talk about my story with crypto. And I'm going to keep it real short because I don't really think the camera quality is going to look all that great. And I'm filming this way instead of that way, so apologies in advance. So, I got into crypto when I heard a stat that in 2020, more money had been printed, more cash had been printed in the year 2020 than the previous 200 years combined. I started looking into inflationary, ways to break inflationary spending, ways to kind of limit inflation, and everything that I looked into was telling me crypto of some kind. And I knew so little about it. I knew nothing. Because I was under the assumption that if you got into crypto, so like in order to get Bitcoin, you needed one Bitcoin. You needed to buy one Bitcoin. And I think when I got into crypto, the cost of a Bitcoin was like $13,000. As it stands right now, it's $50,000. I don't got that kind of money. So, did a little bit of research, found out that obviously you can buy whatever you want. You don't have to buy one full Bitcoin. And so, I basically became baby's first trader. I started looking into Bitcoin, bought some of that. Started looking into Ethereum, bought some of that because those are the ones that everybody kind of goes to. Those are the standards. And then, my money was kind of up and down, up and down. And I'm not an investor. I'm not a trader. So, being not an investor, being not a trader, I just started doing what everybody does. When they have a problem, I started looking on YouTube. And this is kind of where the problem came in. On YouTube, everybody is convinced that they know what's right. They have the answer. They know what coin is poised to take over the market. And honestly, it feels like sometimes people are just throwing darts. Like, okay, I think Hex is going to be the next coin. I think Dex is going to be the next coin. I think Monero is going to be the next coin. Everybody just kind of, it's a crapshoot. And it could. Everybody, anything could just kind of take off out of nowhere. And I got burned so many times. Put a couple hundred into VeChain, and then that goes nowhere. That actually just, pretty much as soon as I put money in, it went down. Like, that one guarantee, if you want your coin to be successful, you want to spend a lot of money, just put money into the coin after I buy it, because it's going to automatically dip. It's just how it goes, baby. So, I got tired of being burned. Some of the coins, VeChain was probably the biggest burn. I heard someone on YouTube say, that's going to be the next big thing, huge profits. And granted, I should have, if you're in this, you need to be in it long term. But after looking into it, it wasn't a coin that I saw myself being into long term, because I couldn't see what separated it from other coins. And not to mention, in order to trade it, you needed something called VThor. And so, I just didn't get it. So I had to go out and buy Thor, which is, you could only buy it in limits. Then I was able to move it. I didn't really like that. I mean, maybe it will. Maybe I'll look back in 10 years and regret it. But there are a lot of instances like that where everybody was swearing something's going to be the next big thing. So that's when I started doing research for myself. I started trying to figure out, okay, what am I doing here? What's the goal here? Is the goal to make fiat money and then spend that, or put that in the bank and then kind of watch it, you know, take that $100 that I made off of a coin and then put it under my bed and then just watch inflation destroy it? It didn't really make any sense to me. So I think my goal then became, what do I do future-proof? And that's when everything dawned on me. I'm not in it to make some fiat currency. I'm in it to try and protect myself in the future. Everything else has gone digital. Music has gone digital. You know, in 1995, we weren't listening to MP3s yet. If someone came to you with an MP3 player, you would say, no, I think CDs will be here forever. Well, 20 years later, 25 years later, we see where we are. No one is listening to, I mean, people still listen to CDs, audiophiles do. But for the most part, we all get our music digitally. And what's funny is I think no one saw where we would be. So no one saw, you know, 25 years ago or 20 years ago when Napster came out. Nobody said, okay, I think in 20 years people will be streaming music. No one will want to own any music. I'm walking uphill, guys, sorry. So if I'm struggling to breathe, that's why. So, after, where was I? I had to pause the video while I was struggling to breathe, walking uphill. So I honestly lost my train of thought. Maybe I should pause it again, try and regain that train of thought. So, I don't think in 2001 when Napster came out, anybody would have predicted, okay, I think in 20 years, no one's going to want to own any music. They're just going to want to take Apple Music, take Spotify. They're just going to want to stream everything. So I don't think we are, when I say that I want to future-proof myself, I don't think we're at the finish line yet. Just because I think a coin can be valuable today, I don't think it will be valuable in 10 years. Because I don't think, with the exception of Bitcoin, which I see being like a store of wealth, a store of value, like it's going to be gold, in my opinion, I don't see anything else right now that's going to be where we end up. And if there's one thing about crypto, is that it's constantly evolving. There's constantly new stuff coming out. There's constantly innovation. So where Bitcoin was 10 years ago, it's come very far. It's almost like a completely different market than it was 10 years ago, obviously. So that's when I started trying to think for myself, like, okay, I've listened to the experts, I listened to people tell me what I need to buy. What do I want to buy? And so that's when I started looking at various coins, and there's a lot of them. And I think Solana was the one, and I could be pronouncing it so wrong, but SOL, if you're trying to buy some, was the one that I started looking at and going, oh, okay, there's some future proofing in this one. I think one of the biggest reasons why something like Bitcoin couldn't catch on, like I know in El Salvador, it's legal tender now, but I think the thing about it is fees, obviously. Even if you're a novice in the crypto, you know that the Bitcoin fees are just outrageous. I'm so cheap that if I send Bitcoin, it's going to be at like 2 or 3 in the morning because fees will be cheaper. If you send it at 5 p.m., obviously, you're going to be spending a small fortune. So, pause. And we back. So, obviously, if you're trying to spend money with Bitcoin, it's going to be problems. Forgetting for a second the fees. Like, you know, if I were to go to Starbucks right now and get a cold brew for $5, by the time you add on fees, I'm paying, depending on the time of day, I'm paying $15 for a cold brew. So that's an issue. The other big issue I saw was transactions per second. Visa does around 60,000 transactions per second. That's a lot. And they can handle that kind of Christmas time infrastructure, people shopping, people spending a ton of money. There isn't any crypto, major crypto, that can handle that. So like Bitcoin, I think does 7 transactions per second. Ethereum does 30 transactions per second. But still, when you consider the fact that you're sending money all over the world, you're sending money to, I'm walking uphill again, you're sending money to, El Salvador, you're sending money to Australia. It's cheaper to get in a plane. Well, it's not cheaper, but it's faster to get in a plane and take somebody money to Australia than it is to just send it, which is insane. So the fact that you can do that is already pretty amazing. But when it comes to a commercial stance, when it comes to, I want to go to Walmart and pay for my groceries with crypto, which I think, in 10 years could happen. Bitcoin isn't it. Ethereum isn't it. So that's when I started looking into Solana. And I started noticing, well, their blockchain can handle 56,000 transactions per second. Now, give or take, because some people say it's about 50, some people say it's about 60, but the most popular number I've seen, still is kicking my ass. The most popular number I've seen is 56,000. So you start looking at that, and you start realizing, well, that could be a coin that's got some real value in the future as people integrate to digital currency. It's coming. I think the early adapters are going to be fine. We're the people with iPod 1 right now, if you're into crypto at all. And eventually got to a point where even now your mom is listening to Spotify, or your mom's listening to Apple Music, but your mom wasn't the first one to have an iPod or an MP3 player. So we're the early adapters into this digital currency, which is great, but also kind of a minefield, because we're trying to figure out, well, which is going to be the one that's going to take off? What's the one that's going to moon us, if you will? So when I started looking at that, it's future-proof. It can handle a ton of transactions per second. The other thing I liked about it is just how small the team was that was working on it. I did some research into them, read their white paper. I liked everything I saw. So I said, all right, I'm going to throw some money on this one. Because at this point, I'm just tired of losing money. And so I was going to start being a little more careful. Coin was $25 a coin. And I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Let me just throw a whole bunch of money, get a whole bunch of coins out of this. And then I noticed that you can stake it, which is, when it comes to coins, could also be another wave of the future. A lot of people are talking about staking and DeFi. I know that you could stake it and you get 9% APY. So even if the coin hangs around $25, $30 for an entire year, you've earned that 9% APY already, even if it barely moves. Worst case scenario, it goes completely to zero. Well, you know what? At least you tried. You're trying to better yourself. You're trying to get out of this sort of rut that we all seem to be in, especially nowadays. But my thinking was, even if it just hovered, then I'm making money. I'm doing better than I would if with investing in some coin that someone says is going to be the next big thing, and then I just lose everything. But then, this is where innovation comes in. And that's the thing about the market. It's always evolving. I'm old. I don't understand NFTs. I mean, I do. I know it's a non-fungible token. I get the gist of it. But I don't get the practicality of it. So I started looking at, once NFTs really started taking off, I know people were using Ethereum for NFTs, but the problem with that is obviously gas fees are just out of this world. I mean, I heard someone the other day pay $100 in gas fees. Like, are you kidding me? And then here comes Solana that can do, I think, I sent some the other day to my wallet, and it was like a penny. Not to mention, because the blockchain is so pretty, 56,000 transactions per second, it's also a very speedy blockchain as well. So the fact that I can send it for so cheap and send it quickly, I think is why the NFT market has really taken a shine to Solana. So now you're talking about a coin that I paid $25 for. I bought a bunch. Now worth, the last time I checked, I think it was 185. All-time high 195. And it could go up, it could go down. And that's the thing about some of these projects I'm getting into, is I like the project enough where even if it goes to zero tomorrow, if it goes from 195, which I think is the all-time high at the moment, to zero, I like the project.
So 30 divided by how many percent? 100 and something you said?
And so I think that's going to be my new thing, whether, regardless of what I get in on, is it a project that I support? Is it a project I like? Because at this point, remember, we're not trying to make fiat anymore. More money was printed last year than was printed the 200 years before combined. We're on pace to do the same thing again. We're not trying to make fiat. We're trying to future-proof our money. We're trying to make money in the future. So when everybody else starts coming around and going, oh, what's this digital currency that I've been missing? They'll see, oh, okay, so there's people who've already made money in it. So, you know, the popular adage is, well, in 10 years, what's a Bitcoin going to be worth? Bitcoin's going to be worth a Bitcoin. The question is, what can you buy with it? So if you can buy a house, a nice house with one Bitcoin, I think that's where we're going to be. I think there's going to be, you know, some people who fight it and kick and claw. But I think that ultimately, within the next 20 years, that's where we're going to be. That's my opinion, at least. So I think that's why the goal has become, we're not worried about fiat. We're worried about, do we trust the project? Do we like the project? And that's what I've gotten into. And so I guess I'm rambling. I said I was going to keep this video short. But that's kind of why I like the Solana coin so much, because I like the project. I like the blockchain. I like the speed of the blockchain. I like how many transactions it can do. I like the people behind it. And then ultimately, I think that it is a future-proof product. I think it's one that in 20 years, you can see people, whether it's on their watch, on their phone, and a chip embedded in their arm, whatever it is, I can see people using that to pay for transactions with. You know, going to Walmart, going to Target, or whatever future store there is. There'll probably still be Walmart and Target. You know, Amazon has already said they're going to start taking Bitcoin. Let me rephrase that. That's misinformation, Edwin, old man YouTube. But they've already said that they're looking into, by the end of the year, start to accept Bitcoin. So it's only a matter of time before other people start looking at blockchain speed, at what's easiest to get. You know, Solana all of a sudden has become pretty readily available. When I first got it, the only place I was able to get it was on the Exodus. I mean, I'm sure there are other places, but I got it off of the Exodus wallet. I just swapped some Bitcoin for it at a pretty reasonable fee, if I'm being honest. Sometimes the fees on Exodus can be pretty crazy. So as we've seen, like Coinbase Pro start accepting it, Coinbase Regular started accepting it. I think that's another reason we've seen the fiat value of the coin go up. But the great thing about that is it's a coin that people are using. And that's probably the number one way to make sure that the price of a coin goes up, is actually use it. Show that it does have work. Show that it can work. I think my other favorite thing about it is because so many people are staking in Solana, and then at least on my case, it takes 2 days to unstake. People aren't selling right away. I think there's this real temptation with a coin, like let's say Cardano tomorrow, and I like Cardano, I have a lot of it. But let's say tomorrow that Cardano reaches $5. You can best believe if you put in, if you bought Cardano when it was 10 cents a coin and it's at $5 and you have thousands of them, you're going to sell. I think a lot of people have that stake too. I know I do. But I don't think it takes quite as long to unstake. Whereas Solana, it takes, I think, it says it takes about 2 days, possibly longer. So because of that, people aren't going to sell right away either, because they're going to see the price continue to go up, and then they're not selling. You're stuttering, Edwin. I'm just going to keep this in. I don't care. 7 people will watch this. It doesn't really matter if you're watching this thing. See the real MVP. That's just gonna upload the whole thing. I'm at 20 minutes right now. If you don't see this video being 20 minutes, I did something wrong. I'm trying to play the YouTube algorithm. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm making this video just to get this stuff off my mind. Now I really forgot where I was. I'm old, I forget stuff. But I think that the thing about it is you have people who see the value of the coin continually going up, which means they're not, even if they do unstake, at this point lately, by the time they unstake their coin, they go, oh wow, it's gone up $20 in value. It's gone up $25 in value. I'm going to hang on to it for a little longer. I'm going to stake again. So you're having a coin at this point, people don't want to sell because the value continues to go up, and then they have to stake for 2 days. So from a fiat perspective, that's amazing. From a future-proof perspective, it's amazing. So, I don't know, in my opinion, granted I said don't listen to anybody, but this is just more or less for me, just to get these thoughts out of my head, because people are tired of hearing me talk about it. I think, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best buys you can have. Will it correct? Probably. There's probably going to be a correction, and it's going to dip, and then Solana Reddit, which is a really cool place. Solana Reddit is really cool. I like the crypto community as a whole, just because in this world of ours land that we live in, everybody's so negative, and a lot of times when you go into the crypto spaces, it's really positive. Everybody just wants to see people succeed, even when there are some people who start bashing. Like, you will go into the Ethereum subreddit and people will just start bashing and like, oh, F Bitcoin people, F this person. People are like, hey man, we all have a stake in this, so if Bitcoin does well, Ethereum will do well. I mean, let's just all hope the best for each other. I think that's one of the best things you can do, is just all hope the best. So, I've rambled a lot, so I was going to keep this video short. Apparently I'm bad at that. But, I don't know, in my opinion, for my money, this is not financial advice, and I just told you earlier, don't listen to anybody when they're trying to give you financial advice, but it's probably my favorite coin out there right now. There's a couple others that I like a lot, but Solana is currently my favorite for a lot of reasons, that I've already said. But if you're, but in my opinion, if it dips, if it starts correcting and there's a dip, buy in, because I'm enjoying watching my money go up, don't get me wrong. But I had faith in the project, when it was at 25, just because of the creators and because of the project itself, the blockchain, because of the speed of the blockchain, because of how fast it is to send it. And just as a project as a whole, I like it. So there is if it dips, if it goes back down under 100, which is possible, there's a possibility that it's going to correct to that level. Buy some. I know I'm buying a ton more, because at this point we've seen what it can do, and we've seen how valuable it can be, especially in the NFT market. We've seen how valuable it could potentially be. Sorry, my friend is texting me. We've seen, potentially how valuable it could be in a retail space coming out. So at this point, I don't know if I really need any more convincing. I've seen what it can do, so I'm just going to throw a whole bag. Once it does, correct. It's a win-win. If it does correct, if it dips under 100, which it probably will, then great, I get to buy more. I'm not buying any at this price.